and welcome everybody who's watching this to our session on Reiki. Just in terms of letting you know a little bit about us as the centre, we are totally self-funded. So if you would like to support us, please do go onto our website. Everybody's muted for the actual presentation itself to allow Toni to speak, but we will be at the end taking time for questions. So I'd like at this stage to pass over to Toni. Toni Lester, Reiki Master. She taught me Reiki, and Toni is going to do a session on an introduction to what Reiki is all about. Over to you, Toni.
Well, hello. It's lovely to speak to everybody and to see you all looking so well, or hoping you are well. As Ali says, I'm one of the Reiki Masters at the Cancer Support Centre, and we do have quite a few Reiki Masters there now. And I've been teaching Reiki on and off there since 2001, when we had it first introduced into the centre. Next slide, thanks. Right, lots of you will ask, well, Reiki is such a strange name. What on earth does it mean? And I understand it to mean Reiki, which is a Japanese form of hands-on healing, and the Rei means the healing part, the universal healing, and the Chi, Reiki or Chi, whichever you like it, actually relates to energy. The way it's pronounced is Reiki because it's got the Japanese underlying pronunciation. It's based in ancient Buddhist healing practices, so it goes back many thousands of years, and it was taken from Japan over to America by one of the Reiki pupils, and they taught Reiki in America, and then it eventually came to us in about the 1980s. So it was a very new form of therapy in this country then, and I learnt to work with Reiki in about 2000, and that was when I was first introduced to it. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Ali. Right, although it's based in Buddhism and its origins are in Buddhism, it really isn't a Buddhist technique at the moment. It's practiced by anybody with spiritual beliefs. So it doesn't really matter whether you are Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist or Christian, or you just think yourself is part of being a spiritual person. Basically, it doesn't matter because it doesn't come in with any Buddhism behind it. It's non-denominational, so it doesn't sit with any particular church or doctrine. It goes alongside of any of them. It basically is a way of bringing in love and healing by whichever way you want to bring it in. It is really a way of increasing our body's energy, and it's used mainly for that, as a way of relaxation and boosting your energy. We can use it on ourselves, so it's quite handy when you're feeling a bit under the weather, you're not feeling very well. It's something that you can do to yourself. You can give yourself Reiki in the same way that you can receive Reiki from a Reiki practitioner. And it's very easy and simple technique to do. So from that point of view, it's a very useful therapy to practice. Thanks, Ali. So it's what we call an energy therapy, and energy therapies really just help to boost the energy of the person who's receiving them. Reiki is quite beneficial in that it boosts the person who gives it, if you're having it from a Reiki therapist, as well as the one who's actually receiving it. Nearly all of the centre therapies are energy therapies. because at the end of the day, they are designed to help people to regain more energy and to feel a better person, feel more energized. Reiki is very popular because it doesn't have any side effects. And from that point of view, it's very useful in clinical areas and also in areas like hospice work, because a lot of the people, especially in the hospices, there are a lot of drugs that they're on, and it's not ideal sometimes to give them some of the other therapies, such as aromatherapy, may interfere with some of the drugs. So the Reiki is very, very easy to use in those situations. The Cancer Support Centre has been using Reiki since 2001. Again, using it to help people to feel more energized, and also been teaching Reiki at the centre since then, so that it's used by the clients at the centre to give themselves Reiki when they're away from the centre and when there is no access to a therapist who can give them that Reiki that they need. This can be a very disastrous time for people when they're waking up at 3, 4 in the morning and they don't want to disturb the rest of the family. It's very, very useful if you can give yourself some Reiki and you can get yourself into a relaxed state and either go back to sleep or at least get some relaxation. It's a very safe way to relax, and it helps to boost the immune system, because we know now that when we relax, the body is able to boost the immune system by doing cell repair work. And that has been scientifically proved. So that is a very useful side effect from any of these energy therapies that help relaxation. Thanks, Ali. So it's an energy therapy. So what is energy? Well, that's a bit of a tricky question, because energy is all around us and we're not quite sure what it is, where it comes from. But as Einstein pointed out, everything in the universe is energy, which is an absolutely mind-blowing statement, but nonetheless a very powerful statement, and one that it's very difficult to know where to start and what to do with it. First law of thermodynamics is energy is neither made nor destroyed. And that is again quite comforting, because if we're all made from energy and energy is all there is, then basically we just go round in a great big circle, don't we? Energy is everywhere, and it is neither made nor destroyed, it's just changed. You can get different types of energy, and obviously that is something which, you know, you can go into in a very deep way, but it's essential to everything in life, and all living organisms exhibit energy. It's very apparent when somebody is not living, there is no energy left in them. Our body's energy can vary very much, from either high to medium to low, depending on our moods and on our health, depending on whether we're eating sensibly, depending on whether we're sad, whether we're depressed, and so on. And when we're fit and well, our energy is always high. That's quite apparent when somebody comes into a room. You immediately pick up on their mood, on their spirits. You always say, well, you know, they're full of energy, and this is very true often with children, isn't it? They're absolutely full of beans. So as we get older, we do lose a lot of energy. Just wear and tear, isn't it? And we get a bit worn out. But it's always good to boost your energy and to keep it as high as we can. Thanks, Ali. So things that raise your energy. I'm sure you'll think of 101 more things. But obviously we get energy from food. So the quality of the food that we eat is very important. And the centre is very conscious of advocating, you know, good quality food. Water is essential to all of us. We are so much made of water that we do need to make sure that our water level is kept high and boosted. When we dehydrate, we very often find that we feel really quite poorly. Energy can be raised by your emotions. When you're happy and full of beans, your emotional levels are high. It could be that you've just passed your exams, it could be that you've just had a birthday, or that a new baby's come into the world in your life. All sorts of things can raise our emotions and give us the emotional highs. Happiness raises our energy. We can be happy even just pottering around the garden, or happy just being with the family. It doesn't need anything very large or amazing to make us happy, but that keeps our energy level high. Things like exercise. Some of us can't stand exercise, others love it. Sports can be fun, but others don't like them. But fun activities and play is very much part of our being. And you see young animals of any type always learn play. And it's fun activities that allow us to raise our energy and just enjoy being with other self-like animals of our own, or having puppies or kittens or children, obviously, around us keeps us full of energy before they wear us out. Creativity, that I think raises our energy too, because we get great benefits from being able to lose ourselves in creating things, whether it's sewing, whether it's making crafts, whether it's woodwork, whether it's singing, whether it's playing a musical instrument, whether it's painting. All sorts of things can give us great satisfaction. We don't necessarily have to be good at them, but just to be able to lose ourselves in them, to raise our energy levels. Beauty is another one, I think, which raises energy. If you see a beautiful scene, it raises your energy. If you go to some beautiful countries, you come back and you are amazed at how gorgeous some of the scenes are that you've seen there. Beauty of things as well, beauty of owning beautiful things, beautiful paintings, beautiful vases, anything really. Music, I always think, raises the energy considerably because it's so rousing. You know, we use all types of different music to raise our spirits, don't we? And there's no reason why we shouldn't. I think everybody loves to sing. Even when they're a baby, they gurgle along. But music is always there to raise our spirits. It takes us into battle. It takes us into the grand occasions, things like the coronation, weddings. Everything can be expressed with music. Deep sadness as well as deep spirits are raised with it as well. And love and kindness, I think, raise our energy, because when we give, it gives us a feeling of being wanted, loved and nurtured. A lot of people like to give, and compassion and empathy are part of the giving professions, the nursing professions, and they bring with them a lot of satisfaction in the job that they do. But I think that's something everybody has within themselves. Thanks, Ali. Next one. Sorry, Ali, can you press the next slide? What? Oh, sorry, we've missed one. The opposite lowers our energy. Obviously, people who are starving have got very low energy. People who are depressed, their energy level is very low. People who undergo stress are very low on energy. There isn't time to recharge that energy when you're rushing around. Excess work, no time to play. Lots of exercise. Sometimes it's quite amazing. You think people are very keen to exercise, and you think, well, they must be really, really fit. They do this and they do that and they do the other. But sometimes, do they do too much? Sometimes if we exercise to the point where we don't recharge our energy, we run on an empty tank. Always you need fun time, play time to recharge, to bounce back. And if you haven't got access to having fun time, if your work is so demanding that there is no time for pleasure, then it's very hard to recharge your energy. I think a lack of self-empowerment is very lowering, and very often we're just on treadmills some of the time, especially at places like the Cancer Support Centre. You find people come there and they're in the middle of treatment, or they're just starting treatment, and they all say the same thing, that there is no time for them to think. They go to this appointment, that appointment, see this consultant, do that, have this, and somewhere along the line they're not allowed to self-empower. And I think at the centre we tend to give them that choice of therapies that they can have, choice of what they can do, and that gives them self-empowerment again. And I think Reiki, by bringing in your own self-healing, can help you to take charge of your own feelings as well. Illness lowers our energy, especially chronic illness, and people who are very ill have very little energy to spare. And Reiki is very useful in places like that, which is why it's so useful in places like, you know, some of the clinical settings, because people are too poorly to perhaps give themselves what they need to raise their energy. So if we can give them an energy therapy, it helps them greatly. Bereavement obviously lowers energy, as does shock and all sorts of other things, I'm sure. But those are some of the main things which lower your energy. Thanks, Ali. So all this talk about energy, where is it? Well, I don't know that we're quite sure where it is, because if energy is everywhere and energy is in everything, then it's difficult to actually put your finger on where it is. But it's very obvious, if something is alive, it has energy, doesn't it? It's certainly in every living cell of our bodies, which are very complex and powerhouses. The energy reactions that take place in these cells are enormously complex, and they are going on very often in the background. We don't even realize that they are taking place. But we certainly need energy to power these complex reactions. Some reactions we're quite aware of. Raising your arm, fine. You need energy to do that. Some we're not aware of. Is the fact that we go to sleep, we're not aware of breathing. But if we don't breathe whilst we're asleep, it's very difficult for us to keep going, isn't it? So these are the types of things where energy is not always apparent. Thanks, Ali. So with Reiki energy, how does it differ? Probably not. Energy is energy. But Reiki energy is what we define as the unison of the healing energy which is all around us. And it's when it combines with our own energy to raise it. In the Buddhist tradition, energy is thought to belong to an area which is about 3 inches below the belly button, in an area known as the hara or dantian. If you look at some of the old texts from many thousands of years ago, people seem to be very aware of energy and how it circulated around the body. If you go to have acupuncture, they're very, very sure about certain points on the body which energy lines can be particularly sensitive. If the energy circulates around the body, does it circulate in the way of lines, in the same way that veins and arteries do? Possibly. We don't seem to be able to see energy. Sometimes we can, sometimes people are very gifted, they see it, but more often than not, most of us would say that we don't see energy. But we certainly know when energy lines don't seem to be working too well. We feel tired, sluggish, we don't feel well, and we certainly eventually show signs of being poorly. And all the things that lower energy have the ability to block it and weaken it. And that's why if you have something like Reiki, where you have this clearing out of those energy lines, it can raise the energy of the body and it can help you to feel a lot better. Thanks, Annie. So how does Reiki work? Well, there's another anomaly. I don't know that we really know, but we ask for healing energy to come into us. And whether you like it or not, we ask for it to come in from the highest source and for the greatest good of the person. And that can be even if we're asking for it to come into ourselves, which seems like a crazy notion. But hands-on healing has been practiced for many thousands of years by lots of different religions, and obviously by shamans as well, who are the spiritual gurus of very many different sects. And Einstein says all religions, arts and sciences are branches of the same tree. I think he's probably right in that we all tend to use energy in different ways, and provided we're using it for the highest good and greatest good, then it is a very effective and beneficial thing to do. Thanks, Ali. So Reiki basically helps you to relax. When you receive Reiki, you have a tendency to relax, and relax quite deeply. And when we relax, the immune system can get on with some housekeeping and some cell repair work. And that being the case, it's very good for strengthening the immune system. But for me, I always think Reiki is very good at problem solving. I think, and I've thought about it for a long time, that it's when you go into a very, very deep form of relaxation, you are actually able to access your inner wisdom. And that is something which we're all born with, we're all given. And that inner wisdom allows us to do quite a lot of problem solving. Or basically, if you can't solve the problem, it's learning to know when to accept that it is there and there's nothing you can do about it. So things that Reiki can do can be varied, but quite large in their consequences. Thank you, Ali. So, is it something which is too good to be true? Well, yes and no. It allows us to access our spiritual inner self and wisdom, and that releases an awful lot of things that we perhaps have forgotten about or don't remember or haven't given ourselves time to think about. Does it work only if we believe in it? Well, yes and no. It's very difficult for it to work well if you don't value it. I don't know whether that's the same as not believing in it. Because if you don't value it, you can't relax. And half the way that Reiki works and is so efficient is its ability to enable you to relax. So maybe for some people, they will say, oh, I had Reiki and I felt nothing and it was just a waste of space. Personally, I always think they'll get something from it because it sneaks up on people later when they've forgotten that they've ever had Reiki. And it enables them to feel that little bit better, that little bit more energized. It's a very gentle energy, and it works in a very gentle way. So when you have Reiki, it's no good thinking, wow, I'll get off the couch and I'll feel marvelous. Because sometimes you just feel relaxed and comfortable and at peace. And other things happen perhaps later. Next slide, please, Ali. I'd like to invite you to all try some self-Reiki. I don't know whether some of you have tried it or not. I know some of you here are Reiki practitioners yourselves. But for those of you who aren't, perhaps you'd just like to try what it feels like to bring in love and healing to yourself. If you're ready to try it, then sit comfortably and let your body be relaxed but aware. Rest your hands gently in your lap and allow your feet to be firmly placed on the floor. That way, you connect to the energy of the earth. You allow for the energy of the Reiki to come through you without being squashed. It's not very good if you squash your arms up tight and you cross your legs or cross your feet. Try and allow the energy to have a free run through your body. We're going to take 3 slow, relaxing breaths. Try and take the breath from the abdomen and bring it up into the chest. And hold it and then sigh that breath out. So concentrate on taking the breath from the abdomen into the chest and sigh it out. And then do the same again from the abdomen into the chest. Hold it and sigh it out. And one last breath. Breathe out from the abdomen, up into the chest. Hold and sigh it out. Now visualize those feet of yours connecting through to the energy of the earth. If you want to close your eyes, please do so. Visualize yourself forming connection to the earth's energy, feeling that you're growing roots down into the center of the earth, connecting with this heavy, powerful energy of this planet. Now visualize connecting through the top of your head with the healing energy that's all around you. And ask for that healing energy to come into you. May it be for your highest good and for your greatest good. Now just relax into that energy. Let that energy come into you. You're breathing relaxed and calm. And when you're ready, just come back into your environment, into the room in which you're now sitting. Become aware of your body, its connection with the chair, connection of feet to the floor, your hands together. Open your eyes and just do a gentle stretch and do another gentle stretch and just rub those hands together and rub the thighs so that you're becoming part of the now, part of the room. And just give thanks for the Reiki that's come into you. I hope you found something of benefit from that few minutes where we relaxed. Obviously, the longer you can relax, the better it will be for you. If you're doing this at home, then sit where you won't be disturbed. Ask the family to give you 5, 10, quarter of an hour, whatever time you have to spare. You can think of setting a timer that will go off when you've got through the time that you've allocated. Make sure that when you sit, you are comfortable, or if you want to lie down, that you are equally comfortable. When lying down, you'll find that obviously your feet will not touch the floor, but just visualize them connecting to the energy of the earth and forming those roots. And always give thanks at the end for the gift of healing. Right, shall we move on, Ali? At the Cancer Support Centre, we send distant healing every single Saturday between 10:30 to 10:45. It's sent for everybody at the centre. It's sent for all our lovely clients and their families, their carers. It's sent for all our volunteers, including our trustees, who are all volunteers. It's sent for our office staff. It's sent for all our lovely therapists. And we are joined on a Saturday by everyone who is practicing Reiki at the centre. So it's quite a powerful 15 minutes burst of energy that you will receive. Go through sitting, lying in a comfortable place if you'd like to receive it, and just get an energy top-up every Saturday. If you'd like to ask Deirdre or Jackie for any details, or you want your name specifically to be put on the list, please contact them on the website. When we're back up and running, we will be running the Reiki Level 1 courses, which teach you how to give Reiki to yourselves, which is such a useful therapy to have at your fingertips. You can also give Reiki at Level 1 to your immediate family, which for some of you, as carers, is a very useful thing to do. For those of you who want to go on to practice Reiki properly, you can go on to do Reiki Level 2, and that way you can be a professional Reiki therapist. Our courses are run by our lovely Reiki Masters, Roy Poller and Karen Taft, and they are usually taking place on every 3 months at the centre. So keep an eye on the website to find out when the next courses will be ready. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed learning a little about Reiki, Stay safe, stay well, and as Dave Allen says, may your God go with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toni. That was lovely. I feel completely relaxed. Now, give me 1 second and I'm going to turn off the recording.